So back here at Croft for race number 2 of the weekend for the Disc Lock Civic Cup. If you've never seen these guys before, you are in for a treat. If you love proper touring car style production car racing, these are the boys to watch out for. These cars look, sound and race like proper touring car style racers. It is a slightly reversed grid because the top 10 from the result of race 1 is reversed, and that means that we have Martin Dalzell, who finished 10th in race 1 yesterday, on pole position with Jason Ballantyne alongside him on the front row of the grid. Row 2 is David Buchy and Lewis Rose from Phil Wright and Alistair Camp, and Dan Reason and Bruce Winfield from Daniel Hobson and Lee Deegan. Watch the lights in the bottom right of the corner, and we'll be able to see who can get the best start from the front row. It is poleman Dalzell on the left, Ballantyne on the right, who will get the sprint down towards Clairvaux corner. It is all set for race number 2 of the Disc Lock Civic Cup. Lights up, lights out, and racing is underway. Decent start from the front row, and look at this, trying to squeeze the middle through between Dalzell and Lewis Rose is going to be David Buchy. It's 3 abreast for second place as Ballantyne gets the jump into turn 1. Buchy squeezes his way through to second place as contact as Bruce Winfield gets sideways. He tags Philip Wright, both cars go around. Wright tags Hobson, he also tags Alistair Camp, and there are cars every which way. Alistair Camp off the road, Daniel Hobson's off the road, and Lewis Rose continues on at the front of the field. Jason Ballantyne leads the way for David Buchy in second place. Dalzell is 3rd, Rose is 4th, and Lee Deegan somehow, through all of that, has found himself back up to 5th position. Well, that was a dramatic start, wasn't it? With 3 or 4 of our main front runners out of the race, it seems, or at least further down the field. Now, I'm not sure Bruce Winfield got a tag from behind from somebody, but he got very sideways on the exit, collapsed into the side of Phil Wright, and he also collected both Dan Hobson and also Alistair Camp, and that's a real shame. But Lee Deegan, you can see here, championship leader and race 1 winner yesterday. Now, he hasn't won a reverse grid race so far this season. Could that be about to change as we head into Sunny Inn for the first time? Lewis Rose with a lock-up on the inside right as they turn into the Sunny Inn for the first time. And behind someone very sideways in the back, that is the 8 of Rose. And Schumacher on the side of the car, but that's not something Marcus Schumacher would do, I'm sure that's for sure, with that kind of sideways action. And the safety car, by the looks of things, has been deployed by the looks of it, because, for obvious reasons, yeah, safety car has been deployed mainly because of the incident at turn 1. And just to reiterate, Bruce Winfield sideways in front of the whole pack. Unfortunately, as he just came back onto the road, across the track, he tagged the back of Phil Wright. He then tagged as a result Daniel Hobson, as the Camp was also involved as well. And that is 4 main front runners who have hit strife in these opening laps. So as we say, Alistair Camp has managed to make it back to the pit lane after getting hit. I think, we don't know to exact extent, Daniel Hobson, you can possibly see just on the top right of the screen, just if you can make it out, is off the side of the road. Now, we've got a replay of the start coming up here, so we'll be able to give you a view of what exactly happened. Let's take a look and just break down exactly what happened here. So it was a decent start for Jason Ballantyne. Look for David Buchy in the middle here, trying to squeeze between Lewis Rose and Martin Dalzell. But let's look further back and see if we can find any clues. Now, Bruce Winfield in the orange and grey car goes round the outside. He does get tagged by Phil Wright. Winfield gets sideways, back across the road. Oh, tags the left rear of Philip Wright. Both of them go spinning. Wright backs into the side of Daniel Hobson and then into Alistair Camp. And it all goes wrong for all 4 of them. And unfortunately, the one that hit the most strife was Dan Hobson, I'm afraid. So that was a rather unfortunate time. And as for number 8 of Aaron Rose, he managed to get going once again after that small spin. But that was really unfortunate. So I'm afraid it looked as though it was a bit of unintentional sort of back and forth between both Wright and Bruce Winfield. I think Bruce was trying to hold the outside line as much as he could, but just ended up leaning on Phil Wright a little bit, got him a little bit sideways, and then unfortunately, it was Phil Wright who took not 1 but 2 fairly hefty whacks into the side of Dan Hobson and then Alistair Camp. So Camp's car will be in the pit lane. Whether or not he can continue or not, we'll have to wait and see if he reappears on the timing screen. Well, let's just have a look and see where we are in terms of the order then going forward. So at the moment in time, Jason Ballantyne, as I was possibly presuming, because usually you can tell who might be the top ones to look for, leads the way as Daniel Hobson rues what might have been. And there is Phil Wright's car, sadly, unsurprisingly, having to go on the back of the truck after taking 2 rather hefty whacks in the rear end of that Honda Civic Type R, and have to get that car sorted out for the next rounds at Anglesey. Sorry, not Anglesey, they've just been to Anglesey at the next rounds later on in the season. So Jason Ballantyne on the safety car leads the way from David Buchy in second place. 3rd place for Martin Dalzell, who started on pole position, so good for him to hold on to the 3rd place spot at the moment. Lewis Rose is holding station in 4th. Lee Deegan, the championship leader, and race 1 winner yesterday, is 5th. Daniel Reason 6th from the number 71 of Max Lewis. Then 8th place now for Morgan Bailey, the former rallycross racer turned circuit driver. 9th place for Chris Coomer in his FN2 shape Honda Civic Type R. And then it's Chris Mullen rounding out the top 10 in car number 28. The rest of the order is Sam Nicolau from Darlington, Winkworth, Mike Ballantyne, the father of Jason, and then Carter and Aaron Rose. And of course, the 4 cars, Bruce Winfield has carried on with being showing according to the timing screen, albeit at the back of the field in 17th place. So I think he was possibly the luckiest out of the 3 to get away with that. As we say, we lost Phil Wright, Alistair Camp, and Daniel Hobson as a result. And there is Daniel Hobson's rather unfortunate car. Now, Jason Ballantyne's got the door open, so whether that's a cooling technique or not, but I think whilst you're driving, Jason, keep the door shut. There we go. Otherwise, I'm not sure the clerk of the course will look on that too brightly. We know it's quite warm out there, but even so, they only usually open the doors when they're on the grid trying to keep themselves cool, but I've never seen them open the door like that before. So the car's weaving from side to side under the safety car. Just a reminder to keep the tyres, tyre temperatures and pressures and the brake temperatures and pressures up as much as possible, which means that on the restart the car is in as optimum condition as possible. And it does look as though that Aaron Rose is the last car in the sequence, and sadly it looks as though we have lost Bruce Winfield after that incident. So 4 cars out after that one. I've just got to try and recover Daniel Hobson's car from Hawthorne's corner. And Lee Deegan, of course, will hopefully try to pick his way through into a possible podium place. As we say, he's taken a victory in each of the four sort of race weekends so far. He's taken a victory at Snetterton, a victory at Alton Park, and a victory at Anglesey. But he hasn't yet, and also a victory here at Croft, but he hasn't yet taken a reverse grid race win as far as I'm aware. So really, he wants to try and break that one, but he has taken a victory at each of the 4 rounds they've visited so far, which is a good record. But of course, the more wins he can take, the more he'll put himself in that prime position to take his 2nd Civic Cup title in 3 seasons. He wasn't present last year. He was 2017 champion and went off to India to collect his prize for the 2017 title, which was a drive in an MRF-tied single-seater over in India. But he's now come back and is now firmly back at the wheel where he feels he belongs, at the wheel of a Civic Cup car, ready to hopefully take a 2nd title. There's Bruce Winfield. He's managed to get himself to the back of the field, so that must have been a quick trip to the pits, I would imagine. And whatever they've managed to either tape up or fix on that car, they've been able to get him back out again to the tail of the field. Now then, safety car is still out. I thought for a second Jason Ballantyne was about to put the restart out, but we can still see the safety car boards and flags out. Now then, we're coming up to half distance already in this race. It's a 15-minute race, and we've currently got less than 8 to go, so hopefully if racing can get back underway very soon, we'll be able to see if Jason Ballantyne go through. That was Chris Coomer, I think, waving to the crowd as he came down the pit straight. And Martin Dalzell and Lewis Rose will certainly be hoping to pick up some strong results here. Of course, as we say, it's 3rd place for Martin Dalzell, 4th for, at this point in time, Lewis Rose, who wanted to get some strong results if they can. Now, thankfully, obviously not for the drivers, but thankfully for the race, both Daniel Hobson and Philip Wright's cars have both been loaded up onto the back of the recovery trucks, which means that we should be hopefully able to get them out of harm's way as quickly as possible, and we may even get racing back underway this time by. So as we say, Jason Ballantyne following the safety car, again weaving from side to side, making sure he can keep those tyre pressures and temperatures up as much as possible. And the key will be is that when the safety car lights go out, it will be then up to Jason Ballantyne to effectively take up the role of the safety car on the restart, because he has to decide exactly when to pull the pin, when to put his foot down, and when to restart the race. Now, he chooses how much he wants to back up the field, when exactly he wants to put his foot down. So he might try and play some tactics here to try and just back the field up a little more. And then when racing gets back underway, he will hopefully, or either one of 2 things will happen. Either he'll get a great restart, catch everyone off guard, and try and pull away to make the most of the clear track. As we see, that I can tell is Phil Wright's car being recovered. And there it is. The front end looks fine, but the rear end's got the brunt of the damage. And as we head onto the back end of the circuit, the other thing that will happen, the safety car lights are out, is that Jason Ballantyne will get racing back underway, but everyone else behind will see exactly what he's trying to do, will see his tactic coming, and go with him on the restart and try and get through. So this is where Jason Ballantyne has to try and play it smart here and outwit the cars behind. Now then, where is he going to try to choose to go away? Is he going to try and leave it as late as possible to the exit of the final corner? Will he try and get it into the complex? Let's see what he's got here in reserve. Of course, Lee Deegan and Daniel Reason there in 6th and 7th place. Max Lewis is 8th, Morgan Bailey 9th, and Chris Kuma in 10th position. And let's see, still weaving side to side, hasn't put his foot down yet, but he has now. Jason Ballantyne thinks, right, away we go, let's get this race back underway and into the complex. It's back underway. It looks as though the former's happy. He's got a decent restart and pulled a couple of car lengths already as they head back into the hairpin. So this time by when they come around onto the pit straight, they will get the green flag and racing will be underway again in the second race of the weekend for the Disc Lock Civic Cup. Out of the final hairpin, onto the pit straight, and we are back under green flags as we head down towards Clairvaux on racing conditions once again. Just over 5 minutes to go then, so a 5-minute sprint for the end of this race. And look at the restart Jason Ballantyne got. A nice couple of car lengths into Clairvaux. David Buki in 2nd place, Dalzell in 3rd, Lewis Rose 4th, ahead of championship leader Lee Deegan. There is Lee in the number 48 SW Motorsports car, and just behind him in 6th position is the leading FN2 car, which there aren't many. Most drivers tend to favour the sort of slightly older, but maybe slightly more aerodynamically efficient EP3 chassis. As they head charged on the back straight. Listen to the Civic Cup cars, they're fantastic. They sound like mini touring cars. They're fantastic to watch. They're all immaculately laid out. And now looking to hold the inside line for 4th position is Lewis Rose, but Lee Deegan will just simply sail around the outside. That's a great pass from the 2017 champion and points leader. And that's up into 4th place. Now the next target for Lee Deegan, if he can start to close in, will be a podium place. And that's Martin Dalzell, who possibly might be there for the picking. But, of course, as we know, catching's one thing, passing is certainly another, as they head into Barcroft and sweep into Sunny Inn for the first time on the restart. Dan Reason might have a look at the top 5 if he's pretty close. The second group is being headed by Morgan Bailey in 8th position. Into 7th place, sorry, because he's managed to pass Max Lewis for 8th. Max Lewis, who is in 8th, followed by Chris Kuma and Chris Mullen. And Sam Nicolaus in there, the 65 car's not too far away. But Jason Ballantyne, certainly hoping for a good result. He's been a front runner before and was in the mix for the title last year, but he's had a bit of an up and down season. Hasn't really had the fortunes which have befitted his pace from last season. He's actually outside the top 10 in points, so hopefully good result here will start to get him back in the mix. Fastest lap of the race on the restart goes to David Buki, which then gets duped by Lee Deegan, 1:34.207 at the front of the field. 3.5 minutes to go, so they'll get probably at least another 2 or 3 laps around the Croft circuit. And looking here, David Buki got a better run through, but look at Bruce Winfield. Forget about the fact he was involved in the Turn 1 incident at 1:34.127. He's the fastest man out there at the moment. He's in either 13th or 14th place, because that's either Winkworth or Winfield in 30th or 14th place, but they've got 2 same acronyms on the timing screen. They head down the back straight. And I did also see that Lee Deegan was fairly close to the back end of Martin Dalzell. Yes, there he is. There is Lee Deegan. And he will try and possibly close in here. And you can tell that he's being put under pressure as Martin Dalzell. A little touch of the grass there, which kicks up some dust. You can see that it's quite dry around here, which is kicking up plenty of dust and dirt on the exit of the corner. Now then, is Lee Deegan going to try and line up Martin Dalzell for a pass here? Where's he going to go? Inside into Sunny Inn? Not quite. He's quite wise as the champion. He isn't going to dive up the inside and risk any contact. He'll sit back and look his better move here. What's interesting though is that the top 2 are not breaking away, because Jason Ballantyne may be driving his mirrors here, looking at the back at David Buki. 3rd place for Dalzell, as I think that's someone else going running across. That was Chris Mullen on the exit of the second part of the Sunny complex into the final complex, into the end of another lap. Go leaders, Jason Ballantyne from David Buki. And we've still got Dalzell under pressure from Lee Deegan then. We've got about 2 minutes on the clock. Then we're going to get possibly 2 more laps looking at this rate. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go on the clock here in this second Civic Cup race. So still Ballantyne leads the way. Buki in 2nd place. Dalzell is 3rd. Deegan 4th. Reason 5th. Lewis Rose is 6th. Bailey 7th. Then it's Max Lewis in 8th position. And looking up the inside, there's a bit of a touch there on the rear corner of Martin Dalzell. And I think Lee Deegan, to try and possibly avoid a penalty, thought, right, rather than try and sneak up the inside, just sit back for a moment, let him have the position, and then try and reassess. But what that has done is sitting back has put him into the clutch. Daniel Reason now in the FN2 Civic in the black car in 5th position. There he is. He's got the headlights flashing. He wants to try and put a bit of distraction, bit of sort of nervousness into Lee Deegan. But being a former champion, I'm not sure that Lee Deegan gets unnerved too easy. Out through Tower Corner they go then. This is the scrap for 3rd developing, because that scrap has just allowed the top 2 to break away a little bit in the front here. But Dalzell, Deegan and Reason are in this scrap for the final podium place. Dalzell has it. Deegan wants it as they come into Barcroft. Where's he going to go? A bit sideways for Martin Dalzell. He's possibly out of control. He's gone straight on. He's gone off onto the runoff area. And all that hard work for Martin Dalzell, who started on pole position, has almost gone to nothing. He's got down to about 8th or 9th position. And that Lee Deegan didn't have to do anything. He sat back and thought, right, have your incident, I'll go straight up to third place. So that puts now Martin Dalzell under threat now from Chris Coomer, as the leaders come into the complex now for the penultimate time, into the hairpin to start the last lap of the race. The Lee Deegan's got clear track in third place. Now all it takes is one small mishap for the top two in front, and Lee Deegan might be in contention here. He's a few car lengths back. He might be too far back if these two continue the pace they're running at. With 32 seconds on the clock, we're on to the last lap of the race here at Croft. So Jason Ballantyne holds on to the lead, as he has done from the front row of the grid at the start of the race. David Buke with a cracking start to get himself up into second place at the first few corners. He's there putting up on the pressure on the number 22. Meanwhile, the recovering Martin Dalzell is coming under threat from both Chris Coomer and Chris Mullen in two very similarly coloured cars. There was Max Lewis chasing after Morgan Bailey there as they headed up into the S's, and as they come out to the left-hander, Darlington there just ahead of Sam Nicolau, and also in there too is Bruce Winfield, so he's up to 13th place, but not really making too much more progress after his third place yesterday. So after the incident, possibly it's a legacy of some of the damage he's been carrying. But we're on the last lap of the race here at Croft, and so far Jason Ballantyne holds the way. There is Lewis Rose holding off Morgan Bailey and Max Lewis. They turn up through the Jim Clark S's for the final time. There's the top two sweeping through shot. Deegan in third, Reason in fourth position. There's only a few corners to go for any more position changes, but so far everything seems static for the time being. There are the leaders, out of Sunny out for the final time, and Lee Deegan is closing in. I think it might be too little too late, but he might possibly be in with a shout if anything happens in the last couple of corners. The leaders come into it, and Deegan is there. Look at this, into third place. Top three line astern into the complex for the final time. Ballantyne has the lead. Can Deegan possibly sneak up the inside to take second place? Buke locks up the inside front, but it's not going to happen. And in what's been a very eventful second race for the Civic Cup, it will be a race victory for the first time this season for Jason Ballantyne. He comes to the checkered flag and takes race two here with the Dislock Civic Cup. It is second place for David Buke and third for Lee Deegan in what was an unbelievably eventful but very entertaining race. Fourth for Daniel Reason, fifth for Lewis Rose, sixth for Morgan Bailey, seventh for Max Lewis, eighth for Chris Coomer, ninth for Martin Dalzell, who was as high starting on pole position and could have got a podium place had he not had the mishap at Sunny Inn. And then Chris Mullen rounds out the top 10. What a brilliant weekend it's been for these guys. Two exceptionally entertaining races for the Dislock Civic Cup, as they always do. And this is real true touring car style production car racing. They wave to the crowd, to the marshals. Again, a fantastic job once again by all the marshals here. And here's confirmation of the result of that brilliant race. Jason Ballantyne, with his first win of the season, picks up the victory by almost 3/4 of a second from David Buke in second place. Lee Deegan rounds up the podium in third after starting back in 10th, courtesy of the reverse grid, which meant he started race one back in 10th. Daniel Reason gets fourth, with Lewis Rose rounding out the top five. Then Morgan Bailey 6th, Max Lewis 7th, and Chris Coomer, Martin Dalzell, who will be gutted at missing out on a podium but comes home in 9th, and Chris Mullen rounds out the top 10. The rest of the results should come onto the screen very shortly as our leaders go across in the background, in the back of shot. Just saw David Buke and Jason Ballantyne going side by side there. And then looking back to the rest of the top 10, in 11th place, Ross Darlington. Bruce Winfield doing a good job to recover to 12th after he got caught up in the race one first lap incident. Sam Nicolau 13th from Michael Winkworth and Aaron Rose, Mike Ballantyne and Craig Carter. And they're three very big retirements. Phil Wright, Alistair Camp, and crucially, Daniel Hobson, who is in the fight for the championship and came into the weekend second in points. Alistair Camp came into the weekend in 5th in points, and Phil Wright 9th in points, and they're both three very prominent drivers. But here come our top three and the rest of our runners in the Civic Cup into pit lane, and then we'll move on to another race. And it's been a very grand spectacle here in the Civic Cup, and they'll move on for the rest of the season, and hopefully more of the same will come their way, and the championship battle rumbles on to the next few rounds. Be sure to check out the Dislock Civic Cup if you want more information on the championship. It has a big fan base, very popular, lots of great drivers. And again, most of the cars, like other championships, most cars are put together, not by teams, but mostly by independents, which is good to see. So top three have stopped down at the podium, and Ray shortly to have a chat to them once he's ready down in the pit lane. Should be Brian Lucas to have a word with our top three. David Buke going to give somebody a hug, but I'm sure Jason Ballantyne will be very relieved. He gets a handshake for David Buke. I think he's delighted with that second place. I think so he should be. That was very hard fought after a cracking start from what was the second or third row of the grid. And of course as well we see handshakes all around. This is how good it is for the camaraderie in the Civic Cup. The top three all shaking hands, all nice and happy. And that's exactly what we like to see. That's what British Club Motorsport is all about. Lots of camaraderie, lots of friendship, but lots of great close racing at the same time as we head towards the second half of the season. And there's a bit of conversation going on between Jason Ballantyne. And so now ready with the top three to have a chat after that fantastic second Civic Cup race is Bryn Lucas.
Well, let's dive into the race winner. That was well, amazing for you if you think about the season you've had so far and where you were last year. Congratulations, race win.
Thank you very much. What a weekend. An engine, a gearbox, a fuel tank, about 4 hours sleep. I needed that.
Yeah, you really did. And you tell me what, it's one of those things that, you know, you've put all the effort in, and to suddenly get a first place, when we think about, you know, last season, the total difference between yourself and this year.
Yeah, the last 2 seasons has been sort of up there, the top end of the field, and this year it's just not gone as we planned, but that's racing for you. I'm happy with that though. Yeah.
Well, you know, you've well deserved, and you got top step on the podium. Nice bit of silver stuff coming your way, and something that I think you've really earned this weekend.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to my dad and Joe and everyone that's helped us this weekend. It's been emotional.
Yeah, I bet it has. Well done. Congratulations there to the race winner. Let's go over to third place. Let's go to Lee. Now for yourself and your championship position, you probably needed that as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I couldn't have asked for more really. I just concentrated on my starts, tried to keep out of trouble on the first bend. I got a bit of a tap at the rear, which sent me sideways, but I think that started a bit of a chain reaction behind, and a few people got a bit excited on the first bend, and it's not nice to see all these cars damaged, so hopefully everyone's okay and can get sorted for a couple of weeks' time at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, there was nothing too nasty. It was just a bit of, you know, car spin, that sort of thing there. But safety car comes out and you have a bit of time behind the car. You've then got to get your focus back up for when the car goes in.
That's right, you've got to make sure your brakes are warm, your tyres are at the right temperature, so just concentrate on that and concentrate on the restart and try not to get swallowed up by the people behind. So I'm really happy with this weekend. It's gone perfect.
Great stuff. Third place, well done to you. Let's go to second place then. Now, this was a hard-fought second place for you.
Yeah, it was. I felt I had decent pace, you know, to keep with Jason in that race. I was just saying then to the other guy interviewing that, you know, anyone can really win out at the top 10, even top, you know, 15. It's such a close championship. And I think the reverse grid really mixes things up. Obviously, Lee's mighty quick, and we knew he'd be coming through at some point. And also, Danny Hobson, I saw he was victim to some kind of impact, so I hope he's okay. But obviously, teammate DH Racing, he's helped me this weekend as well. So the car's going really good, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at your championship position, 7th before this weekend going into it, so it does help you out, gives you a bit of a boost.
Yeah, well, I mean, you might have seen all the video footage, but they call me Deepwater Dave because over at Snetterton at turn 1 there was some oil on the track, and I was in a second place, and it was a given second place, to be honest. And obviously, it just threw it away. So I went from second down to 5th. Went back on the circuit, had oil and mud and everything on the tyres, and it was really difficult to finish where I did. But I just feel like it's been a long time coming. Obviously, I won the championship back in 2016 in the Class A car. I've been quite competitive in the EP3, but never this year had it on the podium. There's two times that I could have, and unfortunately it's just not worked out for me, but glad it has this time. Yeah,
it's nice to finally get all the ducks in a row, isn't it, and get everything into one place. And you've got a podium, you've got yourself a nice silver bit of trophy wear, and that's going to have to go on a cabinet that's going to have to maybe be extended slightly.
Yeah, hopefully. But I want to say a big thanks to this guy over here, my Uncle Phil, if you want to turn the camera on to him. Uncle Phil over there, he's been a massive support. Obviously, I couldn't do this without my sponsors. You've got Chemodex, Launch, M-Tech Brakes, he's supported me for the past 4 years. DH Racing's helped me this meeting as well. And yeah, My Rider, there's a few sponsors on the car. I might not have read them all off, but yeah, massive thanks to them to get me on the grid. I really appreciate it.
Well, you've got a lot of coverage. Well done.
Thank you.
There you go. First, second and third of this Civic Cup.